For your use, I created
It's an awesome
a
slide.
sheet. So you can, I just put some of the topics at the top. There are more. And as we go through, you might note, okay, it was slide number whatever. And we will email this entire slide deck to you afterwards so you can match up your numbers. If you think something's would really be good to show both accelerate, just put the number on both sides. I didn't want to do a both column. On the back of this page is the step-by-step directions about how to access these slides through my KW, the Market Center intranet. Okay, you have it.
Perfect.
Next page, because not everybody understands, there are going to be lots of maps that we show, and you're like, what are those? You see the numbers, but you don't know what the areas are. Here's a little guide. And then lastly, the critical talking points from this presentation on the back. There for you.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, before we get started, we do have one winner here, so don't know how he did it. You never pick two boxes beside each other, but Mickey did, and it worked. First quarter and second quarter, $200. Congratulations. There we go. That is from the grid contest.
I'm gonna do that.
You will be receiving today the next contest, which happens in 2 weeks, which is Super Bowl. Exact same format as what we did for LSU Clemson. Pick your score, winner. Again, one reason we're doing this is it's fun and interesting, but we're kind of modeling what we hope you will do with your own database. This works. Denise McEnany is not here today, but she had her own contest. She had huge input and huge participation. So this
Eddie
is
Levin has had huge, and Virginia, they do it.
yeah, it's an easy touch that people that are sports people, football people, they love you. So just get rid of our name on it, put your name, and away you go. Send it out to them. And it's good to 2 week. You got a 2 week leeway for people to get in. Send it every 3 days. So boom, your face is showing right above them again. 3 or 4 times between now and Super Bowl. Okay. Also, you just walked in, but Bob Facella is the 150. Tied for second. Everyone was kind of on that game. We had a lot of people that actually predicted 42 points for LSU. So it came down to what Clemson scored as the tiebreaker. So y'all are paying attention to your college football. All right, so let's start here. So, market. What do you think out there?
Hot. Good. So good.
Really good for
Why do you say hot?
Interest rates.
Thanks for having me.
What did you tell me this morning?
I don't know what I tell you.
How many you have under contract?
Oh, 7 things under contract.
7. And it's January 21st. That's pretty sweet, right? It's a pretty good start to the year. From my best intel, talking to people, I agree. I have someone at home that I can get some intel from. Literally, her listing in East Cobb, which was from last year. And for people that have been in the business a while, you'll find out that for some reason at the end of a year, something could be a little overpriced and sit. And then all of a sudden, magically, the year turns. For some reason, that price seems low compared to prices in the new year. Prices just always seem to go up in the new year. And boom, it's flooded. That happened to her this weekend. She literally, property she had 3 months last year, contract back up, and 5 other people want disclosures, and just like stop. I mean, it was like I'm supposed to be taking off, and that what's showing time? Ding, ding, ding. It's like whatever you got to do, put it under contract, please.
Turn it off.
So it's busy. It's very busy. Maybe the busiest in my 30 years. That's a big statement, but it's pretty darn close. Seems very good out there. So let's start with the stats. We always show this. Just remember, there's 3 different types of news, and make sure you're listening right and presenting right. So especially right now, I mean, macro news is the country, metro news is Atlanta, and obviously micro news could be as small as Dunwoody or as small as Dunwoody Club or as small as West Midtown. They're very different. They're very different areas, and make sure you're presenting, if you're forwarding this, one, you're reading it for yourself and interpreting, but two, if you're sending it on to people, make sure that you're not sending something national that could be very opposite of what's happening here, okay?
Typically, when your clients, your database, make a comment about something they heard or read on the news, it's national news. So make sure you know the distinction about what is happening in Atlanta, which is what Brad always shares.
Exactly right. Next. Okay, so why do we give you these? Okay, and it's really the top two paragraphs if you read those, Stacy.
Because price and condition account for 80% of buyer interest and acceptance for any property, we need to spend time talking about the information we have and how it helps to present your house in the best possible way to meet your goals. And this is kind of a quote. Neither of us can dictate the price at which your house will sell. The market will determine the price that buyers are willing to pay. My job is to explain the current market and how it is affecting sellers' pricing strategies now, so that we can jointly decide how to position your house to meet your goals.
Read here too, the red.
Okay, yeah, this is good, the red. Rather than using emotion, guesswork, or assertions to arrive at your listing price, when you and I together understand the real Atlanta market data, showing what actually happened to other sellers in the current market, it reveals the most likely outcomes of pricing strategies for you.
If it was me selling, I would almost try to learn this by recall in my presentation. And not like you're reading something, but you can actually say it like you're just talking normal. I think that would be huge. All right, continue. So, it's the same story. The good news is it's the same story. The bad news is it's the same story, which for you means it's the same presentation we've been giving for the last 5 years, but it's good news because this is very good for us. So if I were you, these come in separate charts. Some people might like each of these, but I like this that all are on one page, which really gives you the best snapshot of what's happening. So here we go, cumulative sales. That's actually 3 years right there. It looks like one line. That's 2019, 18, and 17. So that's pretty awesome, okay?
This is good market.
Median price, again, you can see we're up, does by quarters, and we kind of talked about last time, generally the mid quarters might have your highest price, but they're all close. But you can see where we've gone the last 3 years after 5 years of up. So that's amazing. But the good news is the median price now is $290. That's more than double the bottom, wherever you want to put that, 9, 10, or 11. And this is amazing right here. We'll talk about this in a minute. Not enough to really make a difference here, but this is good to know. I mean, just as if you can recall facts, I would recall that things sell for approximately 97% of ask price. And again, something to watch, but again, not enough at 2%, but median price up slightly. But again, that's a great number. Again, that I wouldn't really look at this. I think you have to break this number down more into price ranges.
Right.
So it's a
And areas.
Yeah, way bigger difference in areas and price range. But for the most part, it's a low number compared to a high number. And if you lived in the 2008 to 2011 world, this is very nice if you have listings compared to that world, which was a lot of pain. All right, Allison.
Okay, This is going in your seller presentation. There are individual slides if you prefer. These are facts. This is not projection. That the most offers, sales are in the first few weeks. This is, each one of these little lines is a different week, but look how it just plummets. It becomes stale bread, your listing. So this is why you're spending time in hand-to-hand combat on the initial listing price. And this one, the longer it's on the market, the more likely you're gonna have to make a price reduction, duh. And overall market, the average that it takes is about 5% of the original list price, just a factoid. And then obviously the percentage of that 96.5% goes down the longer you're on the market and the longer and with price reductions. It's obvious, but it's good to show it graphically to your sellers.
How many of you use this chart in your presentation? Yeah, I think it's huge. So when you're on a listing presentation, in my opinion, it's the one time you're really negotiating kind of against your seller, or not against your seller, but we're negotiating. So we're kind of negotiating three things. What is it? Price. What else?
Commission.
Commission, and what else? Condition, right?
Condition.
And this is a big part of your presentation. The more you're prepared and know where you're going to go, the max you'll go, the highest price you'll go, the least you'll accept for commission, the least you'll accept for condition, it'll be to your favor. But I think the price part of it is the key, and we're always, I would say most listing presentation, there's a little give and take. Okay, Charlie?
Could you turn off those front lights, please?
I can.
Also, Stacy, housekeeping note, because we're following it too, the page number you have, I think because you consolidated some,
Correct.
is different.
So,
than
yeah,
So we don't have.
who
page
else
numbers.
is, hold on. Bill is following it online, but most people are not, they're just watching. So we're gonna call out the numbers according to this, yes, because that happens with PowerPoint. And we're gonna send this deck. So sorry, but if you're taking notes, yes, we acknowledge that. And that happens.
So is that the page number we should write down?
Yes, yes.
Page 12.
In the actual.
I know,
Try
but
to
we
follow
can't do
it
this
out.
with every page or everybody.
Are you going to send the
confused.
PowerPoint afterwards?
We're gonna send this.
Yeah.
So why don't we go by this?
Okay.
Yeah,
Then you'll
so this
have
is
it.
page 5.
So again, this price thing's important to get it sold because you see what happens after 2 weeks. So I would point this out to sellers and big time, and maybe let's just say you go in and you want 500 and they want 539. You might not get your price, but at least you might get something off their 539. Every bit helps, correct? Even if you could get down to 529, it's a better start. Okay, we've shown you this. Again, just to make you aware, this is the two opposite markets right here. So this is 2009 and current. So most of you hadn't lived in this world. But again, look at the difference.
Whoa.
Look at the listings. Look at this. That wasn't a fun game if you had listings. That's the
Page
average
6.
supply, monthly supply. Now, if you were an investor, this is a good number, right? This is what we're at now, so almost non-existent. You can see we had half the sales. Again, remember that even in a market, and that was probably one of the second worst markets in U.S. history after the Great Depression, we still had sales, okay? And that will just show you how good Atlanta is. As an example, let's say Tallahassee, Florida, they were down 90%. We were down 50%. Look at the difference. So we're over double now, okay? Anyone you had buy in 2009, 10, 11, 12, you're their superhero. Days on market, huge. 80%. I mean, if you had buyers, it was fun. There was nothing, you weren't outrageous to offer 60%, right? That's not this world now. So, just to point that out. So this is back to what we just said, getting it right compared to not with price. Look at the difference. We definitely want to be in the red in all price ranges, right?
So that's getting it right the first time. Days on market, those are just minuscule.
Right, and I would be showing them this too.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's no fun. That's 3/4 of a year.
And this is broken into price points. So this along with that reverse hockey stick.
Right. Be careful here. Every morning you wake up, first thought is 400 Habersham. Hadn't sold. Still hadn't sold. Seller calling me. I got to talk to him every day. Still hadn't sold. Get it price right. Oop. All right. I like showing this just to show you. I have no clue why Chuck put this red line here. But just to show you, this is failed listings. So we can see the years repeat. I'm always telling you that. The months repeat for the most part. The same volume, the same activity generally happens in the same months of the year for a certain reason. But you can see right now, we're dropping huge. Okay? We're dropping huge. This is just the start of the year. And for the reasons we just said, Kevin has 7 things under contract in 21 days. Arden had 5, just 5 people wanting disclosures in a day on something that wasn't getting much activity. So we're going to continue to see this. Okay? And why is that? Why for the next 4 months are we going to see failed listings dropping? It's the spread between the two. Okay? So I have this talk a lot with people. So when do most sellers think they should list? Spring. Why? Flowers are out in the yard. My dogwoods are so beautiful in April, right? Right. You've heard all this, and there's more buyers, is what they say, right? All true, all true. But the spread between the two is the key. It's not that there's more buyers, because we have way more listings. So we're here, where right now we have this many more buyers, but we have this many more listings. So the spread is in favor of the seller, meaning there's more buyers per listing. And if you were smart, you would be talking to your sellers and say, now is the time to get ultimate price.
Yes.
It happens every day.
Seller competition just increases with every week.
There's less competition. So you'll do very well, and your sellers will do very well getting on the market now. If you can just get them over the fact that they don't have their flowers out. This is just failed listings. You can see the difference in different price range. Just note that. Obviously, just way less the lower the price range, because there's just more buyers in general. Stace?
Okay, this is just a pictorial way of showing the difference. The bottom line is your real takeaway, that of every 100, 65% start out being overpriced. They may have to take a price reduction and an additional listing period. One or anyway. So priced right, 13 days on market and 99.3% sales to list. And where's my, yeah. I got the, I don't have the days on market down here.
Right above it you do.
Okay, sales to list down and sales to original list, basically 93 compared with 99. And days on market, 89.
So this is interactive. We didn't show you, but this is an interactive slide. You can put in different area, different price, and it'll vary drastically. Again, if you're having a seller pushing back that everything I'm reading selling so quickly, you can show them the difference between Paulding County and Morningside. Okay? All right. This to me is just a staggering charge.
How can we have this much price improvement consistently these many years? We're past the typical cycle.
Right, so we're 8-year incredible upcycle. We've seen that prices have doubled. So what's amazing about this, if you went back to way back 9 or 2005, you would see some of these up, down, closer to neutral. I mean, 5% increase a year is an amazing increase. And we have done it now for 12 quarters. But what's even more amazing is this has happened after, like this, if you can see my dot, this was like here, okay? This is after 5 years of going from down on the ground to here, okay? It's just unheard of, okay? I mean, I've had people every year since 2016, you guys come into my office going, Brad, you know, my buyers just, what do I say? They've seen the price increase and their question is, how can it go any higher, okay? I mean, that happened all the time in 2016. And look what they would have missed out. Add all these up. It's a lot, right? So the question is, and maybe we're in a period, at least short term, where you're not going to get that question as much. Maybe you will, just because everything seems so amazing. Interest rates great, stock market. Yeah, honestly, anyone that's in equities, they probably don't even care if prices going up and down because their accounts are so big. But this is, you might get it less, or you might get, because everyone knows this was up huge to this point, and everyone thought it here, like I better hold off, and they missed out on this. Again, it's what we talk about Atlanta. There's just too many good factors in place right now that's just, to me, going to keep driving this. Not to say that next week there couldn't be major events, world-type events that could change everything, but right now the feel is it's about as good as it gets, other than being in the position we're probably going to be in a multiple offer gig the next couple months with your buyers, and that's going to be one of the skills is how do you get yours accepted. But this to me, if I had buyers that were going, can it go up any further? Again, my first answer to that, everything is always, I don't have a crystal ball, okay? I'm gonna admit that. But if I had to make my best guess, people were saying that to me right here at 2016, because we'd been up probably 100% at that point, or 75 or 80, and look what you missed out, 5 plus 5 plus 3, all those, okay? Which is another 50 to 70%. Okay, so I don't have a crystal ball, but here's why I'm saying I'm high on Atlanta, and it's because of, and then go into your reasons why Atlanta is amazing in a lot of ways.
What is the median sales price?
Just a smidge under 300 right now.
Yeah, we'll show that later. Yeah, of course that's Atlanta as a whole. I would use that slide heavily, so this got out of place, but so that's back to the other one, interactive. You can use that. I would use that. Okay, so here's the summary. I think, Stacy, you gave that out to them. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
on the very back.
Right.
So the ones I highlighted, in case you want to mark it, know these numbers. Median's up almost 6% in fourth quarter. Wow. Median sales to list 96.5, and that's metro-wide. Days on market 39 days. I mean, you should just know these numbers. Price reductions are a little higher. I mean, I don't get into the little percentages, but just that they're higher. Failed listings 34%, which anyway, that because not everything that you put on the market sells. 65% of listings were overpriced, and that the supply is lower. Of course, you got to see where your area is, but 2.7 months of supply. Yikes. So
again, that's overall. So you definitely on supply have to look at the price range.
Right, and we're going to show you maps that dig into, break out the areas.
So when it says 65% of listings were overpriced,
That means,
That's just taking into account 65% of listings did not get what they originally listed it for. Is that right?
well,
That's correct.
Yes.
more than that, I mean, that they had to take a price reduction and or relist, go past. So it wasn't just that they didn't get 100% of list price.
Hey Brett, ideally, where do you want the supplied months to be?
Well, that's a good question. It depends on how you do business. So if you're a strong listing agent, you like it is right now, right? If you're a strong buyer's agent, maybe the other side. But I think the true answer is for agents, neutral is the best, which is 6 months
6
supply.
months.
So you'll see. We'll talk about this. But when you have a big swing one way, and we're obviously in favor of the sellers for the most part. They have unusual advantage right now with this amount of supply months, which causes them to be able to act inappropriately and demand extreme things, which puts your buyers in very difficult situations. That if you want your buyer to get the property, they're going to have to give up some security and take some risk, and that's never good for the deal for the most part. So neutral's great, which is 6 months supply, but we've been a long time away from that.
And that's why in your buyer consult, find out what your buyer's perception is going into this process, because people get told things by their parents, their bosses, their coworkers about what's the right thing to do. Don't offer over 80% of list. Find out those strategies so you can counteract and bring them to reality. And don't wait until they're ready to make an offer. Do it in the consultation.
That's all we're trying to do is teach people the realities. That's all we're trying to do. Because it is a little weird when prices are up this much to say, hey, move forward. Okay, but that's a true answer. I mean, how many people have had this situation? They got a buyer, they're 24, first house, and their parents who live in small town Arkansas, never come here, don't know Atlanta. All they say, their daughter calls up and says, yeah, we're going to buy a $300,000 house. Right? And the dad, I mean, he bought his house in Arkansas on Country Club 18th Fairway 20 years ago for $22,000, and now it's the highest priced thing in their town, and it'll sell for $130,000. So what does he immediately say without even any analysis?
Too much money.
Right, there we go. So this is all just educating people, right? That's all we're doing. Part of that is this. Again, we've given you the Goldman article. You have it emailed to you before. Again, very interesting. Goldman is one of the top 5 in regard to just that we listen to what they say. They're smart people. So, again, top point, U.S. economy is structurally less recession prone today. Where they were saying the opposite last year. Bump down to the star investors could be excused for getting a little nervous over such calls. I am. I mean, there was one place that said there's no chance of recession. When you start saying that, you better be careful, right? There's no chance. Hang on. Could be excused for getting a little nervous, as optimism also was heavy in late 2007, just as the economy was about to enter the worst of financial crisis. So there you go. I mean, there's some truth. And then the next paragraph. Overall, the changes underlying the great moderation appear intact, and we see the economy as structurally less recession-prone today. While new risks could emerge, I would use that word too. I don't have a crystal ball. While new risks could emerge, none of the main sources of recent recession. Now, this is the key, okay? Before, it was caused by oil shocks, inflationary overheating, and financial imbalances, which we do not have now. Those are low. So, I tend to agree. Not to say that back then, those might not have even been known problems. There could be something new on the horizon that we haven't even factored in.
And, as you've said, thus far we've never had a recession when there's a shortage of inventory, housing inventory.
I've said that forever.
Yeah.
I've never seen it I'm not saying it's impossible, but it seems, a supply low, it seems tough to have a correction. Okay, let's continue. So, go ahead, Allison. I'm not clicking again now. Okay, so again, this is it's a controversial word right now. Shift is an important word in our company. Gary's second book was Shift, which was a very important book written at the time of Shift, which was 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11. And it was an important book. It taught us how to do real estate in conditions like that. And shift meant major correction, almost depression. That's not what they're talking about here. And again, this is a little tough to listen to the chatter in the company, because the country is, there's a wide range of what's happening out there right now. There are places where shift has already occurred, meaning that change has occurred. And generally that means, let's say, prices declining or supplies increasing. But in Atlanta, ours is a different story. So again, most of these are not enough to, I mean, in 1 year, we've gone up, you know, from 28 to 31 days, really not that important. Price reductions up a little bit. I mean, we should look at this, we should pay attention, but not enough to really say something's happening. Nothing different here. This is, a little bit, pay attention. So for the most part, in my mind, I'm not listening, I'm not hearing shift in Atlanta. I'm not even operating like there's a shift in Atlanta. The only thing I would possibly say, if you want to be smart, and this will never hurt you, good market, bad market, just pay attention to your expenses. Okay? Other than that, I think I mean, from what we're seeing so far this month, 7 under contract in January for Kevin, I mean, it's a massive number. Rashad.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, Atlanta's right on with what happened 10 years ago. We were the last market to be felt by the recession, and we were the first to be out. I mean, we're right on pace for what we were being. Not saying that it would be even anywhere significant to what it was back then, but it.
Right.
I mean, aren't we
We're nice to be, we fare better than the rest of the country.
Right. So you got to kind of go down to your micro market or whatever market you serve at that point in time, community or whatever.
Right. I agree. All right, Allison. Okay, so we've already seen this just in a bigger format. So again, that's 3 years. Okay? Things are pretty. So here's what, don't look up there, shut your eyes. All right, so, okay, no one's doing it. How many listings, or how many sales roughly in Atlanta a year? Well, your eyes are open, so you can say.
8.
How many?
Oh,
That's a good thing to know, right? Roughly 55,000. I mean, that's a good thing to quote.
Yeah, that is.
Okay. There you go. Again, I like this chart. This is what I try to explain to you, that the months somewhat duplicate themselves as far as volume. You can see most closings are in May, June, July, August, even though August is actually a slow contract month. But the reason these are is this is business that was written back in here, right?
Right. Remember, if you may have all these closings, but the work is done back here, just remember that 90-day time horizon. So, and when Brad was saying contracts, he's talking about new going under contract. So,
yeah. So we just continue now. Every month is up and up and up, probably till July. Plain and simple. There you go. There's your number. It's broken down by quarters. You can see, again, they're just
pretty consistent.
But second quarter is definitely your
right. But in the last 3 years, each quarter has sort of been consistent.
Very consistent. Right. 55. That's a good number to be able to quote people.
Now, this one I love because it's the reality of it. What are the prices of the ones that are sold? We're triple digits down here, and woo, this is where more buyers and more inventory. So, I mean, it's always your choice, not good or bad, but the reality is there's more properties available and more possibility of sales. So.
Correct. So I mean, here you go, over 1.5 million, roughly 100 sell every quarter, right? Pierce, how many did you have last year? How many over 1.5?
Had one just under, so 4.
4? So I mean, you're like a deity, you know? like I mean, there's 13,000 agents, and you had 4 out of the 400. I mean, that's pretty amazing. But just realize this. I mean, here's where the bread is the bread is buttered right in here, right? So yeah, just to know.
A lot of
right.
Transactions.
It's almost non-existent. Okay. Do you still have calls? People going, "I want a foreclosure."
They're not out there.
Got you?
Yes.
Want a deal? Want a deal?
Oh my gosh, where they're all complaining.
Okay,
Want a deal?
so what Truck Car says is deal is, like Brad was saying, the differential between what the list price is and what you can get it for. If you want a deal and have that feel-good feeling, you don't go after, you go after things that have been on the market a long time. Things where you've already had 1 or 2 price reductions. You know, those sellers are starting to get desperate. So it may not be what people want to hear, but that's the reality. If you want a deal, a big, you know, a low, what you get it for versus the list price, you're gonna have to go to the hard luck stories, and that's where the deals are, Bill.
And even if you do find a foreclosure, the sellers don't have to price it like a foreclosure because there's
No
no
inventory.
competition.
Right.
So it's not like they have to give it away.
All right, Bob. So role play with me. I'm calling you. I'm just the public. Hey, Bob. Bill said you're great. Need to buy a house. I want a foreclosure.
All right, Brett. Well, how long would you like to wait for that foreclosure?
Okay, let's try somewhere else. Bill, I want a foreclosure.
Okay, Brad, why do you want a foreclosure?
Well, I want something that's a deal that's under market value.
Okay. You know, do you realize the percentage of foreclosures that are out there in this market is compared to where we were when we had a market crash back in the 2007, 2008 timeframe?
No.
Okay. More than half the transactions back then were foreclosures. That would be short sales and distressed sales.
Mm-hmm.
Now, less than 1%, or right around 1% are foreclosures. And they're extremely hard to find. And the reality is that the lenders that are foreclosing and are doing the short sales, they don't have to give them away because the demand is so strong. I think is what you really are telling me is you want a good value. Is that true?
Yes.
We can do that, and we can keep our eye out for foreclosures, but the reality is it's going to be a real challenge to find one.
Like it. So I think all we're trying to do is, in a nice way, make them aware that they hardly exist, and then 2, you're looking for a deal, right? Establish that. Well, there's other ways to get a deal. Okay? Both good. Both very good. Okay.
We need to move along.
Move on.
I just want to point out that
No, we don't even want this in there. Go ahead. You want to talk about it? Go ahead.
that in today you need to tell your sellers buyers are going to expect some seller paid closing costs. You explain about the net, that it's really just the net, and don't get all bent out of shape. But, you know, 65% of the transactions have seller paid closing costs. So just got to get that across. There's another slide that shows by price point about what the amount is typical, and that would be a good one for your buyers.
Is there a slide in there that shows like from year, like maybe 2017, 2018, 2019?
Not going that far back.
No?
Yeah,
Like
he didn't start
transaction.
tracking that.
You might want to have this conversation up front, but the truth is, to me, this is the most misunderstood thing in all of real estate. The truth is, it doesn't matter if seller's paying closing costs, right?
It's all built in.
It's all a net. It's all a net. So just explain that to them up front. I mean, probably, how many, I guess you have a lot of sellers, a contract comes in, they go, I'm not paying closing costs,
Oh, yes.
right?
Mhm.
We need to explain that ahead of time. So it's,
It is. It's 17, 18, 19, so it is there.
okay, but it's the
Yeah, but
net.
not-
If they offered 500 and want 10,000 in closing costs, it's the same thing as they offered you 490. Just explain that, okay? They offered you 490. And it can be important, many buyers want closing costs in. Why? By just cash, cash flow, or they don't have that much cash. So we're countering with that in there. If you can't get to your net, you can't get to your net, but no one's duping you, Mr. Seller, by saying you're paying closing costs. It's just a net.
Or offending. A lot of
Right.
some take
Right.
offense
This
at.
is just, they're presenting it in a way.
It's what's the line? It's not personal, it's just business. I didn't make that up.
Okay, let's continue. Go ahead, Allison.
Sale price.
We've seen this just in a
Just
bigger slide. Continue. Yep, now it's working. We've done that. So this is just a different way to show this.
When it breaks out new construction versus resale.
And it's weird because Chuck he reversed the way he put them on the
Right.
side here, but if visually this helps you or your client just to show where prices have gone, it's a good chart.
Yeah, it goes back from 13.
Love this chart. Again, sometimes someone says I bought in 2008. You can show them the difference, and you can actually, this is interactive, so you could pick this year and that year. Show them the difference.
So that's the equity gain just by the market going up, not anything they did, so.
Good slide.
I bet Toshma uses that.
This can be important sometime if you're competing. Again, y'all always ask who A, B, C, D, all these other brokers are. Just assume they're the top names that you know in Atlanta, but we almost double anyone as far as selling our own listing. So
Right, and so this is a really good seller slide.
right. Again, we've kind of seen this, but just you can see the difference. Median days, in the 30s
This
is
good
not
for
accurate.
sellers and buyers, yeah.
Right, it's just way different in the lower prices compared to the high. We've seen that too. Got to get it right. I mean, this would some form of this would be in every one of my listing presentations. So there's your Paul.
Supply
There's
breakdown.
your question. Balanced market. We consider 6 to 7. So and that just works the best for agents. It's just the fairest for everyone. Doesn't have people acting crazy, but again, it's just a different format of explaining differences when you're in different price ranges.
Okay.
So,
Yep, so the only key, and this is small, that year-to-date sales, small increase of 1.3, and that's just the number of closings. I don't think that's significant. But fourth quarter was up 5.7%. It's just all good signals for the market. Buyers down here, buyers looking for bargains may be better served by a focus on price reduced and multiple listed properties, where long days on markets and lower sales to original list percentages are common. Conversely, prices which have not been price reduced or listed, blah, 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 require fast buyer action with offers near original list price. Buyer
What-
consultation.
So we have to act fast. We know that with buyers. So what are some things that help that up front?
Getting pre-approved.
Lender.
Right. You have a letter, right? You already have a letter? Correct? Anything else?
I think just setting expectations up front.
I agree. Having that letter's huge. You don't have to start from scratch. Again, Atlanta's a luxury market, so we put a couple slides in here.
We knew you were coming, Cynthia.
Thank you.
You can see,
I wish I was more.
actually it's, we're doing better than last year.
Substantially.
Right.
Yeah, we have a statistic that shows that we sell more luxury properties than anybody. So we bring the buyers to the table statistically. So that's huge.
Right. So even though we've seen slides that luxury stays on longer,
Yeah.
it is better than last year, right?
Yeah.
Right. Right. And you can see that
Days on market
by
going
this
down.
too. Yeah, which is nice. Very nice. Just one slide for Rawls Group. So we're one of 6 Rawls Group offices. We've been #1 residential real estate company in Atlanta 6 years in a row in sales volume, which I can't think of any better metric. We sell more real estate than anyone else, with people with a lot more offices. So probably the key, this is the key one to note probably.
Right. And they do have these on individual. The others are like, 1 to 2% difference. The graphics make it look bigger. But this is nice, really nice, that the days on market, everybody else 32, and we're 23.
25% better.
28%, yeah. Fewer days on market
Yeah.
for our listings. Claim that. That's good.
Yes. Allison?
And that breaks it into price points.
Yep.
Same data, but price points.
Okay, continue. All right, so a lot of you like the way this is broken out. So again, Stacy gave you the chart for the old timers in the business. You kind of know these
map.
areas and numbers. For newer people, you might not know them as well, but it's important to know because again, areas are different and just all metrics are different. So just to give you a ballpark where things are sold in Atlanta, it's good to know.
So like all of this is Gwinnett,
Is it?
this is Cobb,
Yeah, that's not.
we got Cherokee
Right,
up
so-
there, Fulton, DeKalb.
Yeah, so again, this is all closer in. Obvious why these have less sales. There's just,
Higher prices.
well, higher prices, but
fewer
there's just,
of them.
yeah, I mean, there's all these other areas have tons of land for new homes, right? So you got onesie twosies in that area, but it's not like you can add a 500-person subdivision. Right, so there it is broken out on the sheet you have.
Right, and this is showing where it's growing, in terms of the numbers sold. So not in the Roswell Alpharetta, those are down. Number of closings, down oddly in this kind of Tucker area.
So not all of you work Dunwoody, but Kevin, what do you make of this?
The
Fourth
sales-
quarter, number of
sales
solds
are
down in Dunwoody's one of the bigger
somewhat
downs.
down, just the
Yeah,
number of
it's the
sales.
first time prices that have gone under 500,000 for what, Bob, 2-3 years? The average. It was at 497. So I kind of just look at it that there was a lot of, I think, stale inventory there fourth quarter that was people were picking through and trying to get bargains up. And I had a couple, I'll be honest with you.
Well, Area 121 is kind of two markets.
Right.
You got 30338
Dunwoody
DeKalb
and-
County and 30350 Fulton County. And the Fulton County is a lot tougher sale than the DeKalb County.
Exactly right. So you would attribute this number being down to what?
I think the prices got a little too high too. They went up too much.
Could be. I mean, this is a very popular area, right? Okay. I think correct. What else? So prices maybe got a little ahead of themselves?
Yeah, people got a little greedy.
I would also say that this is such a popular area. I mean, I've always called since beginning, I've been in business 30 years, I call Dunwoody the Great Compromise because it allows you to get, you can live in Dunwoody and work downtown, midtown. It's doable, okay? But for the people that want 5-4 and a door, you get that in Dunwoody. It's not the new, it's not the 9-10 foot ceilings, but you get big house on big lot,
And still
drivable.
accessible.
So one piece of it could be that a lot of people realize that they're just not selling, right? I like what I have. That could be a piece of it. All right, that's just in a different format. The change. There's median price, so this might be something you want to look at.
Yeah, this is a fun one for
Just
both buyers and sellers.
So who would guess? I mean, even this is what, 132? Which is that?
No, that's actually 21.
Okay. Okay, so that's all
Buckhead.
Buckhead proper.
23 morning
Shop,
side.
yeah.
Okay. Change in median price. So
So what's going up? Atlanta West Side, hot, right?
yeah.
Still, I mean, this is where there's price possibility. What would you call this? Okay. Yeah, it's a little, it's because it's southeast of the interstate, the downtown connector. So some in-town areas, and then, you know, it makes sense. These are the ones where the number of sales going up, price improvement going up.
The investors are going out more to Douglasville
And new home construction is out there. Land out
Correct, land.
Right, listen to Jenny say that again.
Some of the investors who are looking to renovate homes, they're going to Douglasville
Why?
because they can still get properties there at a good price.
The numbers work, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you get to a certain point and just rental numbers don't work if you're buy and hold, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and again,
They had to get further
she said
away.
West Midtown. Do yourself a favor, even if you live way out there, just go to West Midtown and check it out. I mean, it's incredibly awesome what's happening there. And again, the reason is you have an area that's so close to downtown and midtown that all of a sudden has major revitalization. So you're combining all this new and cool and urban that close to town. It's crazy. I mean, I would think most of your younger folks in their 20s are at least interested in hearing about it.
It's true.
Question, what defines the boundaries of these maps?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Chuck started, in terms of which areas are on here, Chuck started this in the downturn, and he does what the Rawls Group asks him to do. This was where we sold back then. He has now added, based on request, he has a separate report on Bartow and Floyd. He has a separate one on Fayette and Clayton down here, and he has one on Dawson Hall. The big, okay, yeah, Dawson Forsyth, correct. The
Right.
big glaring hole is Henry, where we happen to have a lot of sales, so.
But Selena, you were asking what defines like
Yeah, because I have.
the borders of this area. What defines this area? This is
Oh, no,
the-
no, that's not what I was asking.
What?
I was asking like why we don't have data on Conyers
And
places
that's what
like
I
that.
explained.
Yeah, these are, for argument's sake, the most.
Historically, this is where the Rawls Group sold. We're
Well,
bulking out.
it's anyone, an office in this area, this is historically where you're gonna sell. A lot of this is way out for us, but, yeah. What's up here? What's up with 132?
That's Sandy Springs inside the perimeter. The prices are high,
Yeah.
and,
Taxes are lower.
What-
yeah, I think they've,
What is it?
So I'm really excited about my listing in 64.
Yeah, but this is kinda crazy. And it could be that just prices have gone so far.
yeah, they've gone
And then they all
so
need
much.
more
I
money
think
to
this
put
is
in.
kind of like Dunwoody.
No, there's some new construction that gets listed and relisted as they put it on, and they're doing spec houses, and they've been on the market for a long time.
Expensive spec houses.
Yeah, so, be careful. You get 132, I'd be.
Sandy Springs?
Well,
Right.
Sandy Springs inside the front.
Inside, so
Really
from the
kinda-
That's
full,
about a million, Mount Moran, all over there.
it's really more Chastain.
It-
area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chastain. up to the-
inside 285 to the Atlanta city line.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be overly,
Mine's-
I'd be overly talking
Price
to my sellers
aggressively,
about
yes.
price there, or be showing them that.
You don't have a lot of inventory over there too, because of
Right.
the good schools and stuff. People don't really,
Yeah, they don't turn over.
They don't
It's-
turn over. Like, I got.
Okay, change in days on the market, again, something to look at. Again, we just,
Yeah, and I want to say about, anytime the slide is a percentage, like this, if in a smaller area and there were only 10 sales, you know, a change of 2 either direction can look like a 20% change. So make sure you know what you're talking about before you go crazy quoting these,
Stats.
yeah, I mean, when it's overall market, that's a big data pool. Those are safe, but in the individual areas,
It can fluctuate.
it can be just based on a few transactions.
very good point. Let's say, Vining 71, it's so small.
Exactly.
It could change drastically. Months of supply, again, this is when you're
Yep, just what
listing.
we said, 132.
Good to know. Yeah, that's the worst, right?
So yeah, Alpharetta Roswell is still sadly, accumulating. Sandy
And
Springs.
just like Jeannie said, just all this, kind of west, Cobb and west doing very well. Okay, so, what's your take from this? Tosh?
Can you,
Consultation
there's something else I want to, well, never mind.
Whoa, listen, what?
I said consultations are key on both sides. We need to prep our clients for this market and different strategies that are gonna work, and we do have to be versed in our micro market, because this can really throw people off, but setting the expectation is key.
And I'm glad you're saying that, because Tajma had a massive year last year. And if you pay attention around here, there's nobody in this office that you will see with clients consulting in our conference room, and they're not 5-minute consultations. So you think you're wasting your time, but you're actually saving yourself a ton of time, because when you walk out of there, everyone knows the gig, everyone knows the expectations, and you're going to get to what you want a lot faster.
Yeah, Amisha, she was here a minute ago, said, she plans on 2 hours. But she preps them, boy, you're really streamlined, your action plan is good to go. You spend more time.
Yeah, and actually from doing that, you probably, even another angle is just referrals that, someone at the office going, my agent, they didn't sit down with you? Cosmo sat down with me for 2 hours and went over this.
Yeah.
I would think that'd be, just showing your value is huge in doing
Right,
that.
Roshonda's another one, does lots lengthy consultations, and when I leave in the evenings, the people that are still here, Toshma and Amisha and Roshonda, and there are others that are having, with their key fob after 5 o'clock, having appointments with their clients. It's here for you. You're welcome to continue to use the office Saturdays. Come on.
So, again, I think all systems go right now from what I'm hearing and seeing. If I was selling, I would make my family aware I'm working on Saturday and Sunday, because it's busy, and you'll be glad you did. Just the mindset of someone like Kevin to already be 7 under contract, he's gone to the head rub, but it's huge. Just your mindset of just the year and just your effort and the possibilities, once you get out of the gate quick, it's really good. So, anything else? Any other comments?
All the data from that is a combination of detached and attached?
No, what we were talking, glad you asked, was all detached. There's a completely separate deck for condos.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not
Yeah.
enough time to go over them all.
Right, use the guide about how to get there and you'll see.
All right, so listings caravans, what do you got?
And Renee?
Up. Yeah, let's back up. So, Renee, you got anything?
Good morning, everyone. It is really busy this month. It's the busiest January we've had in a couple of years, so keep the contracts coming in. We appreciate it. January is also the time to reach out to your database that closed last year and your purchasers that closed last year and remind them to file for their property tax homestead exemption. We usually have a letter that we send to you. If we haven't gotten it to you, get with Brandy and we'll get it out. I know some agents have their own letter. I mean, it's even just as simple a touch as calling your clients or shooting them an email and just reminding them to file. They have until April 1st to file. They need to do it sometime in the next couple of months. I always suggest it's like the gift that keeps on giving. You can do it now in January and remind them, and then follow up before the deadline to make sure that they file for it.
Every month. You could have 4 touches, keep them on it.
Any questions on that?
And with some people, it takes those 4 touches.
Yeah.
Have you done it yet? Have you done it yet?
Most of the counties, you can do it really quickly online. It's really easy to do. So just, call them, talk to them, follow up with them, and just have them hop on the computer and get it done.
Don't you need your closing statement to do that?
I think you have to have it be able to scan it.
Right, so that might be a service, just go,
I don't know.
hey, I'm sending you your closing, I think you
I don't think you do.
We don't.
As long as your due has been reported, which if
as
you
long
closed
as
last
the
year, your
regular
dues have been
training.
reported. Unless you close at the very end of the year. You may not be able to do it yet.
Okay.
But this is a chance to service your clients, show your value. Provide what they need.
This is April 1st for all metro counties.
Yeah, that's statewide.
Sometimes people have a misconception that it's not for 2019, but will be for 2020.
Yes, good point. And I just had a closing last week that was a cash closing out of state. Didn't realize how. Georgia taxes, they bill them in the middle of the year for that calendar year. So what if they're filing for homestead exemption for this year, or if they're filing this year for homestead exemption, it's going to be for the 2020 tax bill. A lot of states or other counties in other states will bill for 1 year for the next, or bill in arrears. Georgia bills in the middle of the calendar year. So if their seller had a homestead exemption on it last year, it's going to fall off as of January 1st, and they need to apply to get it put back on.
Since we're talking about dates, if you have home buyers who turn 65, they get a big savings on their taxes.
It's county by county.
By county. Well, okay. Well, in DeKalb County, it's pretty significant. I would. So having birthday dates.
Call to it.
Yeah. There's no birthday dates.
Be careful though, in DeKalb County, you have to show no a lot.
Yeah.
County.
You better have.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's like a
Okay.
Cobb County's.
Yeah.
They got a big.
Hey, you're old now. File.
That's your county.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you all.
Certain M loans, Paul.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Very quick, just to remind everyone that the loan amounts have, as of January 1, have gone up. Conventionals 510, 400. FHA is 401, 350. VA is the same as conventional. Also wanted to add, if it's not us, the certainty, get with your loan officers, get with us, get real conditional approvals that have been seen by underwriters in this market. So when you send your contract in, it's going to show on our letters that it was reviewed. Assets, income, credit, everything was reviewed by an underwriter. So in a multiple offer market, they're going to like that. Some other marketing ideas for you is get with your loan officers from deals from 3 and 4 years ago, even 2 years with medium sales prices up. Get them to call your client about refinancing. Hopefully, They might say, no, I'm thinking about selling. You know,
That's a
you never know.
great
Yep.
touch.
That's it. Rates are still,
What's the rate?
3.7, 3.6.
It's amazing.
Even with high credit or with low credit scores, I'm getting 4 1/8, 4 1/4. So,
Very good out there.
any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, listings caravans, what do you got? Dustin?
As of coming soon, probably by the end of this week, it's a 5-4 Fairburn, right at 310. It's essentially new construction, built in 2017, moving ready.
Nice. Sam?
Coming this week, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo, Dunwoody, very close to Peachtree Middle, Brooklyn Park, 170s.
Nice. Lisa? So you didn't have your hand raised. Kevin?
2 in Dunwoody, 1 in Brook Ridge, 450, 4.3 on a slab, which most all of them are in there. Nice renovations, good price. And then 1 in 30350 over by Davis Academy on Baker's Glen, a 5.5. Great curb appeal, renovated, great master bath, 650.
Nice.
A 4, 2.5, 349 in Cobb County, East Cobb, and Pope High School, completely renovated.
Good.
How much?
349.
Anybody has anyone interested or looking in Keswick Village? We've got a line on one. I think it may be on the market now, but
No, I don't.
You got it listed back there.
You don't watch out.
Where is it?
Queen of Keswick.
I got it. It's the one I emailed.
Yeah, I know, I talked to him.
Is that on yet?
We have a new one coming on this week. It'll be on by Thursday, but I have a lockbox out there. It's in Springfield. It has a amazing master addition, amazing master bath, and nice house as well. Good lot, $595 on Springfield itself. And then next week, it'll be ready to show in Spalding Lakes, master on the main, on a slab, 625. It was totally gutted, new windows, all kinds of things. And it'll be ready to show next week.
Good for you.
That's,
I've got a lease. It's in the Avondale Hills in Decatur. It's 3 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. It's near CBC, Embry, Decatur, Agnes Scott, so if anybody's looking. I also have a pocket listing in Conyers that will be coming online shortly. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. And I have a need, buyer's need for a 3-bedroom house in South Atlanta, preferably in the 200,000 to 300,000 price range.
South Atlanta, more specific.
Is it McDonough?
Yeah.
Because I have a 3 coming soon. We'll talk.
I have a 3, 2.5 coming up too. In McDonough, Henry County, about 180. No basement.
I have a basement now.
Anyone have basement in the pool?
I bet the pool is a basement.
Rashad?
We've got actually a luxury rental need. Anybody has anything, Central Buckhead, Sandy Springs, up to $7,000 a month. Our client will put up 6 months up front. They're looking for a media room, and that's basically all they really need. 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, but really just want a theater room. And they'll pay up to $7,000 a month. So any listings you guys may have within that price point, that's $1,900,000 that may be sitting, your owners are open to potentially doing a 6 months to 12 months lease. Give me a shot. You can close on the day. They just got in from Seattle.
Just a theater. Garage, half bath, and a theater.
I have a 5-3 coming up in Lilburn, in Parkview High School, 5 bedroom, 3 bath. 419 is gonna go live Thursday. I already have the photos. We're just having a little bit of work done on the floor, and then it'll be all ready.
Okay.
4-bedroom coming up in Dunwoody. Zone to Austin Elementary School, top-rated school, under 450. 4-bedroom. Brand new school.
It is a new school.
Walking distance.
Right. And thank you. Over the weekend, someone had a structural engineer need. Not only did you send me one, you sent me 5. So thank you. Yep. All right. Who else? Yep.
I have a buyer and a rental need. Buyer need is like Marietta, Ackworth, Kennesaw, up to 320, need a basement where they could have a bedroom downstairs and a business for two, a mom and her daughter living together. So I'd like a master on the main and then a basement with a bedroom. And then a rental need, if anybody has a condo coming up, kind of in the Midtown area, like 1,500 or less, we have an ex-tenant of ours who is fabulous, and she's looking for a place. So if you're looking for a trusted person to move into one of your clients' condos, this would be the one. So let me know. Thank you.
Good. Who else? Okay. Again, busy out there. Take advantage of that. Super Bowl contest, you'll get it today. Again, great touch for your clients. Get rid of anything that says Keller Williams Dunwoody. Put your name on it. Get it out. You're going to get a lot of play off of this, and people like it. Also, be looking our Dunwoody, our Keller Williams Dunwoody Awards Banquet will be early February. We'll give you the date. We'll be looking for that too. Okay, all good. Y'all have a good one now.